Testing 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, the mic is working. Okay, guys. Welcome to Brown Overboard for another live episode of the show. Thought I would sit down for a little bit on this episode, do it live, and answer some questions, whatnot. So here we are again for another live episode of Brown Overboard. I'm your host, Josh Bam Bam Brown. Welcome aboard. All right, so hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well and wonderful. It was a beautiful day here today. It actually cooled off a little bit. The last couple days had been incredibly warm, and it's not even full swing summer yet. It is definitely gearing up to be a hot one. We had a very, very, very mild winter. I didn't mind it too much, actually. I kind of enjoyed it, which is basically a perpetual fall. That was kind of nice. It is a little concerning because of the fires and things that they have here. So because there was such limited snowfall and it didn't rain a lot, that could mean that we're in for a terrible fire season. And I tell you, one more time of that mountain burning down, and I'm out. I'm not doing any more fires. I really don't like the fire problem that they have in this area. It's not something that I'm used to, nor something that I want to get used to. There are constantly fires everywhere. There were a few fires last year wasn't incredibly terrible with the fires, but the year before last was awful, and almost the entire summer it was too smoky out to even be able to breathe. It was really, really bad. And coming from Southeast Alaska, that is not something that I'm at all ever going to get used to. You could not start a forest fire in Southeast Alaska if you tried. Like you just couldn't do it. It's basically a rainforest, so it's really wet up there. And since we've been down here, we've seen fires, floods. I think we even got locusts. All right, so we have 31 people in here. 7 thumbs up. Definitely be sure to give a thumbs up and whatnot, guys. If y'all are enjoying the show, if you enjoy the podcast, if you like Brown Overboard, go ahead and give a thumbs up and push all the buttons and whatnot. And if you want to be notified when I do lives or when new videos are being released, I do new videos, new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you want to be notified, you have to click the little bell thing. They have like a little icon on there that you have to click to tell YouTube that you want to be notified. So even if you are subscribed to the channel, you won't be notified unless you tell the machine that you want to be notified. So be sure to push all of the buttons. And we do appreciate everybody who's following and liking and commenting and sharing the podcast and all that stuff. It is definitely appreciated. Whether you guys are throwing money in the tip jar or whether you are clicking the like button or telling friends about the podcast, it is all appreciated. So thank you very much. It all continues to help the podcast grow. And I am trying to grow the podcast. So special shout out to our 13,000 subscribers. We actually have 13,000 subscribers now. We finally made it off of 11,000. So that is super awesome. Took a while to get off of 12,000, but we finally did it. I have almost seen a tornado. I did not get to get a really good look at it, but I went through an area. Not the last time I drove across country, but I think it was the time before. I was definitely by myself, and I was driving across country, and I went through somewhere, and it was ridiculously, incredibly windy, and it was actually tearing off the cover that I have on the back of my pickup, and it was insane. There was like so much wind. There was like trailers were flipped over in the area where I was going through, and I saw a tornado off in the distance. So I was not close enough really to see it very well, but technically I have seen a tornado. It was just way in the distance. And as stupid as it sounds, I know I've always had more bravado than brains, and as stupid as it sounds, I do wish I could have seen it a little bit closer, but it was a good ways away from where I was. But technically I have seen a tornado. I think it was a, no, it was trailers that I went through the area, but there was actually a train derailment near where I was at the time, also, because it was a really, really nasty storm. So, yes, I definitely like Maine. Maine is a really cool place, and one of the reasons, so I was actually voting for Maine when we decided to move out of Alaska. One of the reasons was because I thought it would be a really good fit for what everybody liked about Alaska and what everybody wanted by moving out of Alaska. I thought that it would be a good fit for everybody in the family. I liked the fact that it was only like the area I was looking at was only like 45 minutes away from the ocean. So I thought that that was awesome, obviously being an ocean guy. And there were a lot of other things that I liked about the area, and it smelled like Christmas everywhere I went, but I did get outvoted. As far as, seeing myself eventually settling in Maine, Washington, or Alaska, currently in Washington, I don't see myself settling anywhere. Bam doesn't settle. I am and forever will be a gypsy. There's no point in my life where I'm ever going to be like, "This is the spot that I'm gonna be in forever." I don't mind having a home base, my place to come back to, but I'm definitely someone that will forever be a gypsy. I do not have any plans to ever move back to Alaska. At some point, I'm sure I will go back for a visit to help my brothers out with stuff they have going on, that kind of thing. But I have no plans to ever move back to Alaska. I love Alaska. It's awesome. It's definitely always going to be a part of who and what I am. But there's a lot of world that I want to see. There are a lot of things that I want to experience, and I have seen a lot of Alaska. I have experienced pretty much everything that you can experience in Alaska. I have been to and mostly lived in almost every area you could name in Alaska. One place I have not been to yet that I would like to go to at some point is Attu. It is the island on the furthest island on the Aleutian chain. So I would like to see that at some point in my life, just to be able to say that I have. But there's a lot of world, and a lot of places that I want to go and explore and things I want to do. Yeah, being a gypsy is the only way to be, in my opinion. But it's the kind of thing. It's kind of like the ocean and stuff like that. When you talk about being a gypsy and traveling and those kinds of things, either you really love it or you don't. And if you're somebody that doesn't, bit my tongue. If you're somebody that doesn't, then you're just not going to, and you're probably never going to. If you're somebody that does, then you always will, and you will always be someone that enjoys traveling. And for me, I know a lot of people, and I've said this a bunch. They like to travel, but they want to get where they're going. And for me, I enjoy the going. I enjoy the travel. I enjoy every aspect of it, from packing my bag to throwing my duffel over my shoulder to the actual adventure of getting where I'm going and then the doing things there. I like all of it, and I very much enjoy the going part of traveling. Mom is doing well. Mom is doing well. She got pneumonia again and was in the hospital for a little bit and then was released, and she's doing all right now. Thank you for asking. Everybody's always asking how mom's doing. She's doing well. And thanks again, guys, for all the thumbs up and the liking of the live and all that stuff. Whether y'all guys are helping to support the channel and the podcast by throwing money in the tip jar, or whether you're liking and sharing and subscribing or any of that stuff, or commenting or asking questions or giving thumbs up, it is all appreciated, and everything helps the podcast to grow. Anything anybody puts in the tip jar, right back into the podcast. Anything that helps the podcast grow is much appreciated, and y'all guys are awesome. And I'm just so enthusiastically thrilled that so many people are enjoying the podcast and that so many people like it. So I just think that's really cool. Okay, shout out to JK567. Uh, I'm not sure what that means that they did, but thank you. I'll have to figure out what that means. They clicked something on here with some kind of something for the live. So shout out to you. Currently, I do not have a garden up on the mountain. I do have a garden where I am, and I am doing a bunch of plants. I run an aero garden, which is an indoor hydroponic system, and I during the summer use that for making a lot of starts and things, and then I put the starts outdoors, and so I have a ton of plants going at the moment. A bunch of onions actually is something that I've really leaned in towards this year. A bunch of onions, and I have one I have one chamomile plant that is about 3 years old, 4 years old. I've had it for a very, very long time, and it survives the winter no problem, just in a pot outside. And she has flowered really well this year. Last year was a little spindly. Year before last, it was really big. This year, lots of flowers, just sprouted everywhere. Smells fantastic. Pardon me. Really love the chamomile. Oh dang, JK567JK. That's above and beyond for the tip jar. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's going right back into the pod, and we do appreciate it. And I know it's something. Let me click that like on there. So shout out to you. Thank you very much for that. You are awesome, and the podcast, because of people like you, will continue to grow and actually be able to, at some point, have a background. It doesn't look like this. I've got a bunch of stuff going on back here that I'm working on. I do a lot of different artsy craftsy kind of stuff and whatnot. And I've got paintings and stuff back here and hat making stuff. I need to get on making some more hats and blankets and things because I've been given way too much yarn, and I bought a bunch of yarn because I went into town to buy beans, sugar, and bullets, and they were the yarn was on sale. It was like $2 for a really big thing, and I ended up buying like 20 of them. So now I got way too much yarn and not enough time to make stuff. So someone is asking, do I have a storefront that sells ABP merchandise? So in my lifetime, I have started about 16 or 17, maybe almost 20 websites, and I'm terrible at it. And every time I start it, I think this is going to be the one, and then something happens. And so the most recent website I had going, same thing happened. It was going, and then it crashed, and I messed some stuff up. I won't get into the details. One of the things that I ended up messing up was the understanding of international shipping and customs and sanctions and things like this. And when it costs you almost $100 to ship something to a certain place, and then it gets shipped back to you and you have to ship it again back to that same location, you can't recharge people the shipping. You just got to keep shipping it. And the other thing too is the miscalculations of how much the shipping actually costs. So it's like hooked up to the official like post office website with the way I was shipping. So it's supposed to be corresponding the actual cost of shipping. But I kept running into the thing of it would charge X amount on the online for the customer. I would get to the post office and end up having to pay $60, $70, $80 more than the listed price. So that got out of control really, really quickly, and that was not good. And I had some issues with the way the website worked and with notifications, and there was a whole thing. And I won't go into it. Currently, it's shut down. I am gearing up, though, to get that site running again. And I'm also looking at hosting on other sites until I'm able to run the website, because a lot of people are interested, and I've got stacks of sweatshirts over here. And all this stuff. So I was looking into like Etsy, eBay, places like that. And as far as selling my dad's books and stuff, I'm looking into Amazon KDP and several other print-on-demand services, getting that up and running. I also have multiple audiobooks and stuff that I have put together and a bunch that I'm working on. Those are going to be rolling somewhere soon. I'm figuring out where to put all this stuff and how to get it to y'all guys, how to get it to the customers before I'm able to actually get my website back up and running, which I will at some point have that. But currently, I'm looking into putting it on other places. Got a little long-winded on that, but one thing about doing the lives on here, one thing about doing live episodes of Brown Overboard is so that I can go more in depth with the questions, so that I can really slow down and actually talk about the different subjects. Because when you go live on other social media sites, it's very fast, it's very clicky, it's very like go, go, go. And it's one of the things I really like about doing Brown Overboard and doing the live shows here with y'all guys, where I get to go more in depth and slow down and actually talk about the different subjects. I do want to again say thank you very much, guys, for all the thumbs up and everything. Definitely click the thumbs up if you are watching and if you enjoy the Brown Overboard. If you like the pod, if you want to help support, give a thumbs up. Click the like button and all that stuff. Don't be afraid of the thumbs up. I know in a lot of places, a lot of other sites, like the likes are always flying. YouTube, everybody's a little bit, it's like they only get so many thumbs up, so they're a little more standoffish with it. But you can thumbs up as many things as you want to, as many times as you want to. So don't be shy. If you're enjoying the pod, click that thumbs up. Well, shout out to Brian Hepworth. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Brian Hepworth 4785. Thank you very much for that. Throwing that in the tip jar. Much appreciated. Going right back into the pod. You guys are making it making the podcast something that we can just keep building up and making better and better and better. And Gaby was supposed to be, speaking of the pod building up, Gaby was supposed to be on another episode with me here the last couple weeks, but he ended up getting an apprenticeship to be a tattoo artist. Y'all guys might not know this, but something that Gaby has been working towards for a very long time, actually, is being a tattoo artist. It's something that he's wanted to do for a very long time, and he's a really gifted artist. He's really good. So he has been looking into doing tattooing for a long time, and he's almost gotten a couple apprenticeships in places where we've lived. And then when he was in Minnesota for a while, he got an apprenticeship there, and he worked for a good amount of time, learning the ropes. And then very recently, in the area where we are now in northern Washington, he met someone that has a tattoo shop, and he got an apprenticeship there. I think it's okay for me to give a little bit of the story behind it. He said that he went in and he was with one of his friends who was getting a tattoo there. And the person that runs the shop, he had talked to them about apprenticeships and things, and they were very much didn't want to do it, very standoffish. But Gaby said that he did like kind of a movie or sitcom thing, because while they were tattooing his friend, these other customers came in, and Gaby basically talked to them, not saying that he worked there. He just talked to them about tattoos, messed around with them, telling, them talking about what they wanted, and he sketched like a little thing about what they were talking about and everything. And when the owner of the shop got through with their tattoo and came out, well, first Gaby was like, well, I don't, they asked, will you be doing it? He was like, well, I don't actually work here. And they thought that was hilarious. And so when the owner came out and saw this, and the people were so enthusiastic about Gaby being there, the owner was like, okay, you can be an apprentice. I'll take you on. And he got the job. And so that's super cool and awesome. And I actually helped him the other day fill out all the paperwork that he needed to do for getting his license. So he has to be a licensed tattoo artist, and he has to work under another tattoo artist as an apprentice for like 200 hours. And then he can file to get his shop license, which allows him to open his own tattoo shop. And I thought that was super cool. Really proud of Gaby for the way that he's doing that stuff. He actually recently did his tattoo on himself, because that's sort of an initiation. You don't have to do that, but if you're a tattoo artist that is into getting tattoos, it's kind of an initiation. And so he gave himself a tattoo. I don't think I can say I don't know if he has shared with anyone what it is, so I'm not going to say, but let's just say it was super cute what he chose to give himself. It was very much in line with Gaby. It was very much in line with who Gaby is. But I'm super proud of the guy. He's really a go-getter. He's a super hard worker, and it's really cool for him to be doing that kind of thing, because he's very into it. Not something I would want to do. I have a very steady hand and a keen eye, so I think I could do it. Like I'm rock steady with the hands, and I'm very good with my hands. So as far as following a stencil, I think I could definitely do it. Way too much dealing with someone for me. I don't want to be that close to somebody for that much time. But Gaby's a social butterfly. He actually enjoys that stuff. He got all that from Dad. Dad was someone that, though Dad could live in the middle of nowhere for years and not see anyone and be totally fine with it, when he was around people, he was very much a talker. He had the gift of gab. He was no stranger to the Blarney Stone. Like, Dad was a talker. He really liked to talk. And Gaby is the exact same way. He's a social butterfly. Bear is too, but mainly only around girls. And me, I am the least social person in the entire family. I am, bar none, the least social person in our entire family because I'm very much a hermit. I really am not a people person. Yeah, he went to their barter fair thing that they do here, or whatever they call that, that they do somewhere around here, in one of the towns. Yeah, but that's just like your opinion, man. Yeah, good for Gaby for sure. Someone is saying that the podcast has improved a lot in a short time. Well, thank you very much. I think it is, it's getting better and better, the onwards and upwards, as I always say. And, I still barely know what a podcast is, let alone how to host one, but I'm just kind of doing my thing. And that's one thing that I really like about podcasting that I really think is cool about modern technology, social media, being able to do live broadcasts of things and all that. It's really cool that anyone that has the gumption can do that. In the olden days, it was near impossible to put yourself out there in that way. You had to fit into someone else's box of ideas. You had to, be part of someone else's things and fit someone else's, approvals. And now all you need is an internet connection, a camera, some kind of microphone, and some gumption. That's all you need. And you're able to just really put yourself out there in that way. And I think that that is awesome. It's another reason why I think it's cool that there are so many ways that people can support creators that they like. That if you like the creator, you like what they're doing, you want them to keep doing what they're doing, people can throw money in the tip jar here on YouTube. People can do the sticker things or whatever over on TikTok and the other stuff. I don't think there's absolutely anything wrong with that. There are so many creative people out there who want to do creative things and who want to entertain people and aren't able to because they're not backed by a studio or because they're not the kid of someone who's rich and famous. And there are so many people who are genuinely talented and hilarious and funny and artistic. And it's cool that modern technology, a lot of these things afford people the chance to do those things, put themselves out there in that way, and for their fans and people that enjoy their content and what they're doing to support it, to say, like, I'm enjoying what you're doing here. Let me help you out a little bit. Because I think that's cool. There's no difference in that versus someone paying money for a movie ticket to go see a movie that a studio made. And so I think that that's just a really cool aspect of social media and technology in general. Yeah, someone saying that YouTube has a lot of tutorials these days. Yes, it definitely does. And it's another thing that I think is cool is the amount of knowledge and stuff that people put out there. Even I'm doing so, the I don't know if they're necessarily how tos, but I talk about like a lot of different subjects and things. And like I'm very involved in like publishing and book creation and copyrights, trademarks, all that kind of stuff. I'm very well versed in that. I've studied it for almost 20 years, and I'm by no means a professional. I don't claim to be a professional. I have no traditional schooling in those things. I'm an autodidact, and I learn everything and teach myself everything that I need to know. But it is something that I'm talking about more and more on the podcast and doing certain episodes about those things. Oh, someone from Tasmania just joined the conversation. So hello to you. I've always wanted to see Tasmania. I've always thought it would be cool to be able to say that you have been to Tasmania. So that's awesome. So I don't talk about Matt. I will say that you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped, and he has a lot of issues and a lot of problems. And I will touch on what someone just asked here about something about him saying that the family was cashing his checks or something like that. There are no checks. That's a complete fabrication. Nothing like that has ever happened. I won't go into all of that, but I will say that, and this is I'm actually talking about in another episode. I'm filming an episode of the podcast all about this. No person in reality television has ever received residual payments ever in the history of time. In the history of all television, no reality show person has ever received a residual payment, regardless of their involvement in the show, regardless of the popularity of the show, regardless of how much that show is played, replayed, streamed, put into syndication. It doesn't matter. No reality show person has ever received a residual payment, which is also not cool. It's something that is definitely not the way it should be. A lot of reality television is still very much the Wild West, and people can very easily and often are taken advantage of for being involved in reality TV and signing the contracts that they do. Not saying I was. This does happen, though. And there is a precedent, in my opinion, a very strong precedent that people should be paid residual payments for their work in reality television, the same way that an actor would be paid for what they do. Because in reality, more so than an actor. Now, actors should definitely 100. I'm my aspiring actor myself. I am an actor, just haven't really broken in yet. Never say aspiring. If you are an actor, you're an actor, and just say that. But 100% actors, writers, producers, all those people should get the compensation they are due. But when you talk about reality shows and the reason why they should get the same kind of treatment and the same kind of respect and the same kind of residuals, when an actor goes in and they play a character on a sitcom, they are saying words that were written for them. They're portraying a fictional character. They get to clock out, change clothes, turn into themselves, and go live their life. When you are somebody that puts yourself out in a reality television show, it's your world, it's your life, it's your words, it's your clothing, it's your face, it's your voice, it's your everything that goes out there. And there's no escaping that. There is absolutely no escaping that at all. It is forever when you do something like that. And I think there is definitely a precedent for reality show individuals making residuals off of what they have done. And anyway, I go way more in depth into this and cite a bunch of precedents and things and statistics and whatnot all about this in a future episode of Brown Overboard. It's actually taken me a little bit longer to film that episode, pardon me, because I'm going so in depth in it. I'm not just winging this one. There's a lot of stuff that I just like talk. I talk about what I'm talking about. This one I have written out all stuff. I have cataloged things. It's something I've been researching for years now, and it's a way more in-depth episode. Like it's done. I'm putting enough into it. It's almost like a documentary on the subject, not an episode of a podcast. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, mom claims to not. There's somebody saying that mom is a social butterfly. And yeah, mom claims to not be a social butterfly, but she very much is a social butterfly. Mom loves to talk. She loves to have conversations. Both mom and dad could talk forever. And definitely Gaby got that. Bear got it to an extent. Bear loves a good outing. He mostly wants to talk to girls, but he loves to talk and have conversations. And Gaby, just a mile a minute talker. Noah is a bit of a talker, but he's also a little bit on the fence because it depends on the day, really, with Noah. It depends on his mood at the time. And me, just never, just not really ever. My girlfriend's the only one that's ever accused me of talking a lot. And obviously, when I'm doing this kind of thing, I'm talking. But like in normal everyday, man, a few words. And that's an understatement. Okay, shout out again to JK567JK. And they're saying, thanks for being genuine. Well, that's just who I am. You know, it's just the way that I am. It's the way all of us Browns are. We are very much unapologetically ourselves. It's like Bear, even with his whole practically a cartoon character thing. It's like, that's just who he is. He's unapologetically himself. That's how he is. That's who he is. That's how he moves through the world. And, you know, the way, oh, hold on. Testing. All right. Yeah, the way that we grew up, the way that we were raised, the examples that we had and everything very much instilled in us that we didn't need to fit into a box, that we didn't need to be something that was dictated to us that we needed to be. And so, because of that, we are very much individuals. We are very much who and what we are, and are so we are unapologetically that. And so, thank you for saying that. Thank you for noticing that we're so genuine, because we definitely are. For better or worse, we are genuine. Well, thank you very much to everybody that is saying they enjoy the show. Whether you're a longtime fan, a longtime follower, or someone that just found Alaskan Bush People, really glad that so many people enjoy it. My dad always said, if it makes one person's day a little bit brighter, if it makes one person smile, even for a moment, then it was all worth it. So I'm really glad so many of y'all guys enjoy the pod and enjoy the show and enjoy being part of our crazy misadventures. Really appreciate it. So thank you very much for being honorary members of the Wolf Pack. So Bear is not on YouTube as much. He's more on the TikTok thing. He's not on YouTube as much, but he is cooking a lot of stuff that he's going to be putting out soon. He's doing more episodes for his series called The Life of Bear. Y'all guys should check it out. He puts a lot of work into it, and he does really well. So he's got a bunch of stuff going on with that. So if y'all guys want to see that when he starts putting more stuff out, definitely subscribe to his channel. Totally free to subscribe. Because he's going to be doing some more stuff really soon. He's working on a bunch of them. So I have not bought the new mic cord yet. I am looking into getting the new mic cord because there was a place that I can get it instead of just going online and Amazon in it or whatever. There's a place that sells directly from the manufacturers and the people that actually make the equipment. And so there was a thing that I was trying to hold out for because there was a sale on the one microphone that it came with the cables. So they had a microphone that is just like the one I'm using, and it comes with all the cables and cords, which I had to pay separately when I got this one. So I was trying to hold on and save up for that one, but I might have to just break down and get a new cable, because I'm probably going to get the new cable anyway, because then I would have this one with a broken cable and a new mic with good cables. So I'd still have to get another cable. But I was just thinking to myself, if I could get the second microphone, I would make do with having the terrible cable that I have now on the first microphone. But I'll probably just break down and get the new cord. That way I can, one, test and make sure it is the cord and not the microphone that's messed up, because right now I don't know. I'm hoping and assuming it's the cord, because the cables do go out on these, and the microphones are pretty sturdy. So I'm hoping that it's just the cable. But no, I don't have it yet. I will be getting it very soon. Oh, that's cool. You always subscribe to Bear too. Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to have to put you on pause for just one moment, so I will be right back. All right, and we're back. Got a chicken in the oven. Doing a garlic roast chicken tonight. It's one of my specialties, actually. It's actually my own recipe. It's super simple though. It's, I'm hesitant to even call it a recipe. Actually, it's so simple. But Bear and I were actually talking about that the other day, because Bear is gearing up, really trying to step up his kitchen game. Because Bear's always been a really good cook. Bear can find his way around a kitchen. He's always been good, but he doesn't necessarily enjoy doing it. Like he makes the family spaghetti the same as we all do. Like he can make it just like mom. He makes it just like mama used to make. We all do, but Bears is really good actually. And recently, he's really wanted to step up his cooking game, uh, especially since he's doing the single dad thing. So since he's not able to rely on anyone else cooking, and he's always been a good cook, he wants to give his kids that same home cooked meal experience. And one of the things he was really enthusiastic about is creating meals that smell good, that will fill your house with those smells, because this is something we've talked about a lot in our lives. When you're a kid, when you're a kid, when you're a young kid, an older kid, even as a teenager, you're locking in these memories, and it is a fact and has been proven with science that the strongest form of memory is smell. So smell is associated to being the strongest form of memory that a human has. And we've always found that fascinating, and so it's something that we have talked. Hold on, somebody's saying the audio is cutting in and out. It sounds fine to me. It's coming through on me just fine. Y'all guys, let me know. Let me know if the audio is working or if I need to adjust or fix something. If somebody's saying it's cutting in and out, I need to know if that's for everybody or if it's just them. Because to me, it sounds fine. Audio is fine. Okay. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So because we recognize and understand that smell is such a strong form of memory, Bear wants to create those memories. So he wants to make it smell good and smell like home cooked meals and for them to have that. So he's looking into a lot of different recipes, and I was telling him about the super easy. All right, everybody's saying the audio is good. We're good. Sounds good. Thumbs up. All good. Audio is fine. Okay, awesome. Good, because it sounds good to me. So I thought there was. All right, great. So anyway, I was telling Bear about my super easy, awesome garlic chicken, because it is something that is really easy to make. It will make your whole house smell wonderful and like food. It is a really great home cooked meal, and I'll tell it's gonna be in my cookbook, but I'll tell y'all right now. And I'm also doing videos of me cooking, just a little my own cooking show I'm putting together just for fun. Since I'm making all the stuff anyway, I'm cooking all the time anyway, and I'm making the food so that I can take photos of it for the cookbook. So I thought, why not film me doing it also? So anyway, you take what you need. Here's what you need. You need a whole chicken. You need 2 large onions. You need a bag of carrots. You need some jasmine rice. You need a little olive oil, a little salt, a little pepper, and half a lemon. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take those 2 onions, chop them up. I usually go julienne, but you can chop them into cubes or whatever you want. Chop up the onions. Put those into your baking tray, your pan. I just like a large Pyrex. It's not Pyrex. What is it called? I can't remember. Stub, I think, is the brand. Anyway, it's a large pot that I put it in. Baking tray, pot, whatever. So you put the onions in, and then you want to peel, cut your carrots up, cut them into bite-sized pieces, not too small, but also not too big. You want them like bite-sized cubes. Put those in with the onions. Drizzle lightly, very lightly, with olive oil, a little salt, a little pepper. Stir it so they all get a nice little, coating of that olive oil. You want to take your whole chicken. If it comes with the giblets and liver and all that, you can put that in there, in with the onions and carrots. But you want to rest that chicken on top of the bed of onions and carrots. And then you want to put some olive oil on the skin, a little salt, a little pepper, squeeze that half a lemon, stuff it with the half lemon, and then pop it in the oven and put it on 350 for about an hour 35 till it reaches 165 internal temp. And you're good to go. You're going to want to stir the onions and carrots every 20, maybe 30 minutes so that they don't burn. And keep that going. Also cook your rice, cook your jasmine rice. I like to cook the rice in bone broth instead of regular water because it gives it a richer, deeper flavor and better consistency to the rice. So once it's done, you then just serve onions, carrots, the chicken with the jasmine rice. You want to take some of the juice from the bottom of the tray and drip that onto that jasmine rice and then serve. It's super easy. Very delicious. It smells fantastic. It is a go-to. Oh, I forgot the garlic. You also want to baste the chicken with a little garlic on the inside. Don't overdo it with the garlic because you don't want that getting too absorbed into the carrots and the onions because it will kind of kill out the flavor of those onions and carrots when they mix together like that because the sweet, it gets a really sweet, savory taste with the onions and carrots together. So it's super easy to make. Anyone can make that. And so I taught Bear that recipe, and he's gonna cook it as well. I need to I just told it to him, so I need to like send him the actual like instructions for it, which is another reason why I'm filming myself making the food. It's another reason why I'm filming myself cooking as because I need to do the photography for the cookbook anyway. So I'm filming myself doing the cooking, and also that allows me to actually catalog how I make the dish, and then I can take that, watch myself doing it, and write down the instructions so that I can put that into the cookbook. Yes, I am Bam, for anyone who's wondering. I'm your host, Josh Bam Bam Brown, here on Brown Overboard. Thank you very much for joining me for this live episode of Brown Overboard, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing all at the same time. Yes, we all live in northern Washington. Bear is spending a lot of time down in Florida because that's where his ex-wife lives. And Bear will do anything for his kids and anything to be close to his kids. All of my brothers are very dedicated parents, and that is admirable. I definitely am very proud of the kind of parents that they are, and I know my dad would be proud also. They're all trying to follow in Dad's footsteps, and he left some pretty big footsteps to follow him. So I think someone said something about chocolate chip cookies, and I actually have my own chocolate chip cookie recipe because I wasn't really sure how to make them, and I just kind of made it up, and it actually turned out to be like basically how you make them. And so then I went and got a traditional recipe, and I incorporated that into my own just winging it recipe, and so now I actually have my own chocolate chip recipe. And yes, I know I've said recipe about 100 times. So, yes, I can seem more mellow depending on where you're seeing me or what's going on at the time, and that's because my wrath is always warranted. It is always like it's circumstantial is the wrong word, but it's always something that is predicated upon something that is happening or the situation or people not doing what they're supposed to be doing or people who are idiots or whatever. Now, I will admit though, I am an irritable person. I am irritable. It does not take a lot to flip that switch for me. It really doesn't. And once the switch flips, look out. But for the most part, I'm pretty even keel because that's the thing about me too. I'm not really high highs, really low lows. For the most part, I'm just completely even keel all the time. But I am an irritable person, and I'm also somebody that doesn't have any problem telling anyone what they think about anything. Yeah, so the cooking videos will be on my other channel because this is Brown Overboard. This is the podcast channel, and this is dedicated to the show, to Brown Overboard. My other channel is called Respect the Danger, and it is going to have all my other videos, my silly stuff, my funny stuff, my acting reels, uh, my cooking episodes, all of that stuff. That is my anything and everything channel. And I have like these acting reels and stuff that I've done like for auditions and whatnot. And I thought about just releasing those. Like, why not? One of the reasons is because it's just fun and they're just sitting there anyway. And people might get a kick out of it and enjoy it. And the other reason is, hey, maybe Spielberg will see it. Maybe he's like browsing YouTube and gonna see me doing like a monologue. Who knows? Who might see it? So I thought, why not toss it out there? So those will be going on to my other channel as well. Mom is doing well. Thank you for asking. Mom is doing well. What is my most unpopular opinion? You don't want to know, and it would probably be bad for me to say. Of course, I don't gauge popular or unpopular really with anything, so it would be difficult for me to even ascertain what my most unpopular opinion would be because, like, that's, who knows? So no, my sisters don't have kids. Rain is actually she is pregnant. Rain is having a kid. Birdie, no. She's got 100 cats. She's got enough cats they almost make one child. No, Birdie loves her cats. Birdie has tons and tons of cats. She's always loved cats. Always been an animal person. I myself not a pet guy. I've never understood the appeal why people want to have pets. I don't get it. Have a pet if you want one. Somebody wants a dog, a cat, a ferret, a parrot, a tortoise, whatever. Have a pet. Good for you. I just don't want anything to do with it. It drives me nuts whenever I go somewhere and I end up in a place and somebody's like, "Oh, here's my dog. Pet my dog. My dog. My dog. My dog." It's like, leave me alone. It's great that you love your dog. I don't want to have to deal with it. I have no problem with dogs. I just don't see the appeal. But I don't see the appeal of cats or any of that either. I don't get it. Like whatever it is in there with people that makes them want to sit down and stroke a fluffy cat, it's not there. It's not hardwired in me. That part is missing. I don't get it. And yes, guys, be sure to give a thumbs up, click the like button, and all that stuff if you enjoyed the pod. If you want to help support the pod, whether you're throwing something into the tip jar or whether you're clicking the like button or telling a friend about the show, subscribing, liking, whatever you're doing, leaving comments, asking questions, it all helps the podcast. It all helps the podcast to grow, helps the podcast reach a broader audience. And the podcast is something that I really enjoy doing, something that I am definitely going to continue doing, regardless of its popularity. But it would be super cool for it to actually be like a real success and build up. So I think that it's really cool just how many of y'all guys already respond so well to the pod and really enjoy it. Well, everybody ages. Everybody, grows. Everybody, spends more time on the earth, and it becomes more visible on them. There's gray hair and there's wrinkle here or there, whatever. And I really do not get this obsession that people have of trying to look younger than they actually are. I mean, it's like take care of yourself, and even I moisturize occasionally, but it's like take care of yourself in that way. But the obsession of trying to make yourself look younger, like with 80-year-olds with jet black dyed hair and stuff like that. I mean, you do you, whatever. I don't care. It just doesn't make sense to me because also a way that I look at it is that aging and growing older is a privilege denied to many. It is a privilege that a lot of people don't get. It is something that a lot of people will never get to experience. It's something that you are privileged to have lived that long and to have experienced that much life. Being able to make it to the point where you got some crow's feet, a wrinkle on the forehead, some gray hair, that's a privilege. That's something that you should be proud of. You should honor the fact that you have been around that long, that you have had those experiences, that you have been part of the world and life and the adventure and the magic and majesty and insane, crazy beauty that is existence. You should wear that with pride. All right, someone's asking, what is the main difference between being on a YouTube Live versus TikTok Lives? So for me, there's a technical difference because I suppose you can go live on TikTok with your computer instead of your phone, which I haven't tried yet, but I like the technical aspects of how YouTube works with the lives versus TikTok. The other thing is that it does seem to be a little bit slower. It seems to be a little bit slowed down. People on TikTok, not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's very fast. It's very fast paced. People clicking on, clicking off, clicking on, clicking off, scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So I think that YouTube, maybe it's just the way I'm going about it, but I think it's a little slower paced. I think that people stick around a little bit longer. You slow down a little bit, uh, and just technically, there's a difference to it because it's a little bit more like YouTube's more like a post-apocalyptic PBS. It's kind of what it is. Takes itself a little bit more seriously as well. And there's nothing wrong with TikTok being all silly and having all the like weird sticker things and face moving things and all the graphics and effects that pops up and everything, which I know is something Bear loves about it. I kind of like this, where it's just little classier, a little slowed down, a little bit more like "Welcome to the radio show, welcome to Brown Overboard," as opposed to the fast and poppy kind of thing that they have going over on TikTok. They're all cool in their own way. It reminds me like the way Bear does it and everything reminds me of a lot of I don't know how many of y'all guys have watched game shows from Japan, like Tokyo game shows. I've seen a bunch of them. So it really reminds me of that. Like the way that Bear does his lives and stuff reminds me of like a Japanese game show kind of thing. And over here, it's more like NPR. Yeah, the aging thing and stuff like that is another thing that I'm going to be talking about in another episode of the podcast. It's an upcoming episode because it's something that personally I feel very strongly about, and there are a lot. It might be an unpopular opinion. So speaking of unpopular opinions, that I'm very against like plastic surgery and stuff like that. Again, you do you. Everyone should be able to do whatever they want to do, whether I think it's weird or not. But I do think there are a lot of aspects where people get self-conscious about things and they get wrapped up in that kind of stuff that they might not necessarily have done otherwise. Uh, I'm someone that is completely impervious to any kind of peer pressure. I remember the first time my dad tried to explain to me what peer pressure was. I couldn't even understand what it meant. I was like, how could you possibly be so affected by someone else's opinion? You would alter your own self because of it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I still have a hard time understanding it. But anyway, something else that I'm talking about on another episode of the podcast is that kind of stuff because there's a real epidemic of people doing those kinds of things to an unhealthy extent and to people that it's really like needless, to do that. And maybe it's something I shouldn't say, but one that I have noticed, and I'm not going to name names, but one that I have noticed that is really noticeable is when they like remove the fat from like the cheeks, right? And so there will be like uh, women that are really pretty, right? But they have like a cute look and they have a rounder face and a cute look. But they want to look like they have like the tall cheekbones and the slender face, right? And most people that are built with the rounder face and have those kinds of cheekbones and that kind of facial bone structure can't pull off the more the sharper look of the bone structure. And so when they try to, it just destroys the natural cute thing that they had going. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and a lot of times it's completely unnecessary to do those things because also it's the imperfections. It's the little imperfections that actually can enhance someone's beauty a lot. A crooked smile, a wisp of the hair that just won't cooperate and is always going its own way. A wrinkle of the nose in a certain way that someone responds to something. Someone smiling and their eyes almost closed, and those kinds of things. The little imperfections, the crooked smile, stuff like that really adds to the genuine uniqueness and the beauty of the individual. All right, somebody's asking when I was younger before the show, what was my dream job? So I have only ever in my whole life uh, looked at two traditional job kinds of things that I ever aspired to. One is photography, because I love photography, always will, always have. And the second is acting. Since I was a kid, I learned to read reading Shakespeare. I used to do, I could, still can, recite like every line of dialogue in Macbeth. I used to do Macbeth like on the back deck of the. I might be a little rusty at the moment, but I used to do like Macbeth on the back deck of the boat growing up, and I've been done stuff like that my whole life. I've always messed around with that. So acting and photography, the same thing. You know, when I was younger, before the show, throughout my whole life, and now it's all the same. And of course, with acting, I throw voice acting in there as well because voice acting is awesome. I think it's great. Really enjoy it. It's one of the reasons I really like doing like the audiobooks and stuff. Well, yes, that is a good idea about the question and answer. I do every now and then, periodically, I do question and answer episodes. I film some of them live, where I take the questions answered here and turn it into a video, and then put it out as a regular episode. And then other ones I've taken questions and things from all our different social media online, and then put that together to be an episode. So I will be doing other question and answer episodes that we'll put out as regular episodes as well. So definitely, guys, leave comments, ask questions on any of the videos. If you watch the different episodes and you have questions about the topic I'm talking about as well, definitely leave a comment, leave your opinion about the topic, leave a question, and you'll probably hear me talking about it in another episode. What is something I tried once and immediately thought never again? Uni, or sea urchin. Tried it once, never again. It is disgusting. Don't like it. And I eat fish eyeballs, but no sea urchin for me. Also, not a moose guy. Not a moose guy. I like caribou. I like elk. I like deer. Beef. It's what's for dinner. Pork is great. Love bacon. Had a nice slab of ham the other day. It's hard to beat a good like when you get one of those like slices of ham, slap it in the skillet, a little bit of butter in there, not olive oil, a little bit of butter, because it helps build up that the nice red juice that comes from the bone in the ham. But anyway, slap that on there, cook it up real nice, toss in some pineapple in there, fry the pineapples in that butter and that ham juice. Slap about 5 fried eggs on top of that, salt, pepper, and serve. All right, somebody's asking pineapple on pizza, yes or no? The only thing I don't like on my pizza are olives. I don't like olives. Keep the olives off the pizza. Everything else is a yes. All right, somebody's asking, was Browntown real or was it scripted? The show was not scripted. It was just us living our life. It was as real as it gets. They just showed up with cameras and pointed them at us. It was completely real. A game I like to play with friends and family. All right, so if you're talking about old school, I love to play poker. If you talk about casinos, I love to throw dice. I'm definitely a gambler, and I love shooting craps. It's one of my favorite things in the world, actually, is shooting craps. I love it. I love throwing dice. It's really fun. I've done roulette and stuff like that, but craps is my favorite. And a video game that we love to play is Fortnite. We are all very into Fortnite for a couple reasons. One, it's one of the best video games ever made. The way that it works, the way their attention to detail, the way that they put different skins from like everything in the world, skins are the character you can play as, is super cool. It's a great game. It's something that the guys and I can all play together, whether we're in the same room or whether we're across the country. Bear and I were playing the other day, and he's in Florida. And instead of just sitting on a phone call talking, we're able to hook up the headsets and the game, run around, fighting people and doing all this stuff while we're talking to each other. So Fortnite is the number one video game at the moment, and something that we really love to play. But we've always loved the competition as well, competition games, playing like Mortal Kombat, GoldenEye Combat Simulator, that kind of stuff. Battle Arena Toshinden, one that almost no one has ever heard of. So we love the competition games. We grew up playing chess and all that kinds of stuff. But yeah, Fortnite, awesome game. And if I'm going gambling, I'm shooting craps or playing poker. I like backroom poker, where old school Maverick style poker, not the rush casino poker. I played a little bit of poker in Las Vegas, and it just wasn't any fun because everybody there was in such a hurry, right? It was like hurry, 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 play your cards, play your cards. It was ridiculous. It was like slow down. What are you doing? This is not how you play poker. Uh, Craps in Vegas though, a lot of fun. All right, so hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well and wonderful and having a great day. Oh, and I also want to say Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there, uh, and my condolences to anyone who lost a family member who was in the service. Both of my grandparents, my granddad on my dad's side and on my mom's side, were actually in the military. My granddad on my dad's side was in World War II, and my granddad on my mom's side was in the Korean War. He was actually in for a little bit. He like re-enlisted. My granddad on my dad's side was a Marine. My granddad on my mom's side was regular Army. So there are a lot of things that need to be built and stuff to build up the mountain. I'm currently have been spending the majority of my time working on the family business and really trying to buckle down to produce my dad's stories and my dad's books and all the different things that I'm doing uh, for the family company and building all that up. It's very time consuming. It takes a lot of time. I've been, putting a lot of focus into the acting career, the voiceover, doing audiobooks, creating my dad's children's stories. I am, I edit, I do all of the illustrations and everything for my dad's books. I have 13 of them that I've just about finished. One of them is completely finished. I have 12 others that I'm working on now. And three of those are I'm just about to close out. So I have almost four books finished and 13 or 14 books altogether I'm working on just of the children's stories. Other than that, I have like 50 some odd books I'm working on that my dad wrote. And then I'm doing other audiobook stuff because I'm doing audiobooks for a lot of public domain books that I enjoy, putting those out there. And then I'm also gearing up to be able to sell my services as an audiobook creator to people, primarily focusing on independent authors and authors who are not backed by a lot of money because it can be really cost prohibitive to create audiobooks. And I actually follow a bunch of authors over like on TikTok and stuff. And think it would be cool to be able to sell my services to people at a much lower rate than what you can get regular audiobooks made for. Because of everything I'm doing and everything I've taught myself and I know, I can do the audio performance. I lend my voice to it, but I also create the audiobook itself. So like I know how to do the voice work, I know how to make the files, I know how to edit it all. I have all the programs to do all of these things. And so that's something that I will be doing very soon. I will be gearing up to start, advertising to sell my services for audiobook creation. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully, like in the next week or so, I will be releasing, that and releasing the information of how people can reach out to get their audiobook created. Have you ever broken a bone? Someone is asking. I have not. No, I have never in my life, not for lack of trying, ever broken a bone. I've never broken any bone. I have incredibly strong bones. I have very, very strong bones. The closest I have come to breaking a bone, I almost cut off my finger, my ring finger on my left hand. and I sawed into the finger with a hedger, and it cut into the bone. Now, I asked the doctor if that counts as a broken bone, and he said no, because you didn't break the bone. You literally sawed into the bone. So that's not the same thing. And he actually said, thought, because I got it sewed up at the emergency room, and then I went in a couple of days later to get the orthopedic surgeon to look at it. And he thought he was going to, because usually they have to cut him open. And he thought he was going to have to remove the stitches, clean out pieces of bone, and then re-stitch it. But he x-rayed it and looked at it, and he was actually very surprised that there were no bone fragments. He said there was not a single bone fragment. He said that he hadn't really ever seen someone that hit their bone that hard and sawed into it, and there were no fragments. He was like, the very strong bones. He was like, you got very strong bones. Because there was zero fragments, did not have to reopen or do anything. So that's the closest I've come to breaking a bone. I've broken my nose a few times, but again, that doesn't count either because I didn't break the bone. I broke the cartilage that's in the nose. I've broken that like 6 times, something like that. Don't get hit in the face, kids. Used to do a little bit of fighting, a little bit of boxing, stuff like that. So I've broken my nose a few times. But again, doesn't count. It was the cartilage. I also broke my ear once, the cartilage as well. Which, who knew you could do that? So yes, Rainey does know if it's a boy or a girl, but I don't know if she was released that information, so I can't say. Uh, and as far as when she's due, I'm actually not sure. Somebody's saying I'm missing a lot of questions and comments in this chat. I don't think that I am. Again, this is long form content, so we do take the time here on Brown Overboard to answer questions in depth and thoroughly. So it might take a little bit longer to scroll through and get to all of the questions, but it will be worth it if you stick along for the ride. I admit that I have a tendency to talk as if I'm a character written by Tarantino with less vulgarity, but if you stick it out, it is typically worth the journey. No, I don't see any comments I've missed. The pineapple on pizza. I think I got everything below there. Oh, here's one I might have missed. All right, somebody is asking, what is in my opinion, what is an animal that isn't typically associated as being a predator, but that you believe is overlooked on the danger scale? So an animal that is definitely overlooked on the danger scale are moose. Moose are incredibly dangerous. Now, they are not a predator because they're not going to eat you, but they will stomp you to death. Moose are incredibly dangerous. Now, they are huge, they're gigantic, they're ornery, they're mean. Now, they have a reason to be because everything in the forest wants to eat them. So, like, they're running around with a lot of PTSD, and they really, really show it. And they're just trying to survive. But a moose will not take the chance that you want to eat it. It will just come over and stomp you, and it will go out of its way to do that as well. Like if you see a moose, the likelihood it is going to try to get you is fairly high, fairly high. Moose are incredibly dangerous. Okay, I don't understand that question, so we're skipping that. Yeah, poker, awesome, yes. Last thing I laughed way too hard at. What was the last time I laughed way too hard at? Well, I was watching an anime recently. Yes, I like anime. I read light novels and stuff like that. And I can't remember what it was about it, but something just, I broke up laughing like crazy. It was something that wasn't necessarily even intended to be incredibly funny, but it was hysterical. And I just laughed, totally LOL. I totally like laughed out loud at it for way too long. I wish I could remember what it was, but I can't remember exactly what it was. And then I did very recently. I think it was like yesterday. I saw a video. I was just scrolling through online on some stuff. I saw a video of somebody that did something really stupid on a construction site, and it was hilarious. Like, not so stupid as like they really got hurt. It was just the way the person did the thing that they did was really not how you do it, and it was funny. But the last thing I really laughed like crazy was the anime I was watching. I get asked this a lot when somebody's asking what's my favorite memory of my dad. So it is impossible for me to answer that question. It is really impossible. Just so many good memories. You know, my dad was part of so many adventures and taught me so much. You know, so many different things. You know, how to hunt, how to fish, how to fight, how to tie my shoes. You know, the guy taught me, you know, so many things. And we had so many cool adventures together and so many experiences and spent so much time, you know, and time just hanging out. So it would be really hard to say. I mean, a recent memory that was, you know, shortly before Dad passed, we sat down and we watched a bunch of old John Wayne and Clint Eastwood movies, which is something Dad and I always loved to do. And we sat down, we watched those. We kind of one for one them because Dad was always a very big John Wayne fan, and I was always a very big Clint Eastwood fan. And so we would have fun little arguments about that. Like, you know, Dad would always say that John Wayne would win in a fist fight, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but Clint Eastwood would win in a draw. And Dad was like, yeah, you're probably right, but John Wayne would win the fist fight. So Dad was always a John Wayne guy. I was always a Clint Eastwood guy. And shortly before he passed, we would sit there throughout the day, just spending time together. We would one for one, we'd watch a John Wayne and then we'd watch a Clint Eastwood, and we probably went through like the whole filmography of both of them. Uh, so I really just enjoy all the memories I got spent with my dad, and I count myself very fortunate, very lucky, and very blessed to have that amount of memory, to have those so many memories, to have so many positive memories of my dad. All right, not answering this question. You don't ask people about their salary. What are you doing? How much do you make? I don't talk about Matt. Matt has a lot of issues. He has a lot of problems, and the only thing I will say is that you cannot help someone that doesn't want to be helped. And also, I always say, and always throw this out there: if you are someone that has detached from someone in your sphere of existence, you don't need to explain why to anyone. You don't need to justify that to anyone. And you don't owe anyone to the extent that you need to go down that road with them. You do not need to enable them. You do not need to be part of the darkness of their existence. And you don't need to justify that. You don't need to explain that. You don't need to excuse that. And you don't need to apologize for that. And it doesn't matter who that person is. Everyone in existence, regardless of what problems they have, are responsible for who they are. You are responsible for who you are. You are responsible for how you live your life and the decisions that you make. And you are what you choose to be. All right, did we get caught up? I think that's everything. I'm scrolling down to the bottom now. What is a random purchase you ended up loving way more than you expected? So I don't really make random purchases. So that's new, that's a really difficult one for me to answer because I don't really make random purchases. I'm a very basic guy when it comes to that stuff. The things that I have, you know, other than like equipment, other than, you know, weapons, recording equipment, cameras, like microphones, stuff like that, I don't buy a lot. There's not a lot of stuff that I really accumulate. Like I'll collect on my travels like postcards because they're super cheap and very easy to, like, you know, lug around. Uh, I'm not really an impulse buy kind of guy that much. You know, the leather jacket and a good pair of boots, and I'm set. So really, I don't even know how to answer that because I'm trying to think, have I ever made a random purchase? Not for myself. I've made random purchases to give other people things, but I have. Yeah, I'm not really a random purchase kind of guy. I hadn't really thought about that before. Dream car or vehicle. So I have two. Now, one, I love my pickup truck. I'm a GMC. I'm a GMC guy. Love my truck. I learned to drive with an old stick shift GMC when I was 12 years old. My dad taught me. But I love my truck now. jet black GMC, beautiful, great, reliable truck. Dream car though. I have always been a Mad Max enthusiast. I have always been a fanatic about Mad Max my entire life. Uh, it's one of the few like I cosplay Halloween costume kind of things. I made a full Mad Max suit because I'm pretty handy with leather working, and so I made the jacket. Like I made the jacket from Mad Max and the leather pants and all that stuff, and had picked up in one of my travels a the actual like sawed-off shotgun from Mad Max. It's a prop. It's not working at all. It's like total prop, but very authentic to the show, right? So I'm a Mad Max fanatic, and I have actually tracked down one of the vehicles from the actual filming of Mad Max 2, and it was for sale for like 90,000, almost $100,000 in Australia. So that is something that I would seek out if I was able to, and get hands down 100% the car from Mad Max, the V8 Interceptor. The other car that I really like is the Chevy Chevelle Super Sport, 1966. Not the 67, not the 65, 1966. There is a big difference between the if you know anything about those cars, you'll know that the 67, the 65, not the same car. 68, not the same car. 1966 has a very particular build, body style, and frame. So the 1966 Chevy Chevelle Super Sport, top car I've always loved. There's just something about that car. And obviously it's got to be jet black. Jackets, boots, and cars should be black. What is a completely ordinary thing I'm weirdly competitive about? I am weirdly competitive about everything. All my brothers and I are. We are all very competitive about really anything. We're just that way. Like we're just really that way. An odd thing I'm competitive about is I'm competitive with myself. So like if I set a record on something, if I set a high score on something, or if I set like a time trial on something, I will become obsessive about beating my own score, my own record for doing something. So that's an odd competitive thing I do. BAM has no 5-year plan. And BAM doesn't do plans. I make this stuff up as I go. I am not married. I do not have any kids. I do have a girlfriend. I do not have any pets. No people pets either. Lots of nieces and nephews. Tons of nieces and nephews. I've lost count of the nieces and nephews. All of the fun, none of the responsibility. Just the way BAM likes it. Well, someone is saying extremely wise words. I'm not sure which subject you're talking about, but I'd say all of them. So thank you very much. So no, I actually don't have a horse. I sort of had one of the horses, was going to be my horse. Things didn't really work out. It was the first horse that was born on the mountain. It was called North, and then I talked about a lot, and that was actually going to be my first horse ever. Because I didn't want a horse until I was ready for one. I kept telling everybody, infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. We shouldn't be getting all these animals. We need to build places to keep them, and figure out the ways to take care of them before we get all the animals. So currently, no, I don't. After Dad passed, I ended up, people didn't agree to me getting North, like Dad had said, so that ended up not happening. Oh well. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Someone said their little brother passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences. Again, somebody talking about the Matt thing. Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't agree with it. So I'm entitled to my own as well. And like I was saying on the subject, don't need to justify, don't need to explain. And no one should ever feel pressured into including anyone in their existence or, enabling those kinds of things within their own life. Somebody has a 67 Chevelle. It's not the 66, but it is a good car. So good on you. But it's not a 66. No, GTO is not the Chevy Chevelle. I'm very partial to that car. What can I say? Always have been. I saw one when I was a kid in a magazine. I tore out the page and had it on my wall for on the boat for a very long time. I also had one like a picture of it in my wallet. I was kind of into cars and stuff when I was a kid. Oh, that's cool. Somebody saying they have a 66 Chevelle in their garage. Nice. Well, shout out to Christian Hutchinson's. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it. That is going right back into the pod. Special shout out to Christian Hutchinson's. Hutchinson? Kristen Hutchins. Excuse me. I'm trying to pronounce the name correctly. I am terrible with names. Can barely pronounce my own. But special shout out to Kristen Hutchins. Thank you very much for that. You're super awesome. It is much appreciated, and that is going right back in to the pod. All right, somebody's asking, do you think you'd ever live outside the United States, excluding Canada? They're talking about across the pond. Now, I want to see everywhere. I want to travel and see everywhere and go everywhere. As far as like living somewhere permanently, it's unlikely that I would live in a different country than the U.S. simply because of a lot of the structure of the way their laws and stuff work in a lot of other places. It's not like the U.S. I myself, if there were somewhere I could go, there was like Conan the Barbarian, and I could just live that way, where I was left alone by everyone and could just live my own life by the sword, I would 100% sign up to do that. That's where I would live. Unfortunately, that place doesn't exist. So America, it is. I want to explore and go everywhere and do everything, almost everything. But as far as relocating to any of those places, it's unlikely because most of them have pretty stringent laws when it comes to your ability to protect yourself. And I, believe that I've often said that the more you rely on anyone other than yourself for your own personal safety, the less freedom you will have. And a lot of the implemented laws, like especially in places like the UK, I'm not going to get off on a tangent here or talk about those things or anything, but I will say a lot of the laws in those areas, they take people from being citizens to being subjects. Because anytime where you're subject to the laws preventing you from defending yourself, you're not a citizen anymore. You are a subject. Whether they call you that or not, that is what you are. And I won't name names, but I saw an interview recently of an actor that was saying that he thought, because apparently there's a lot of knife crime in the UK, he thought that they should stop making kitchen knives pointed. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard for multiple reasons. One, obviously the guy's never cooked anything or been in a kitchen. Secondly, where does that line stop? Like, should we only use plastic safety scissors? Should we do away with pens and pencils because they're pointed and we should all just use crayons? Like, where's the line here? Of just treating everyone like they're a child because there are some evil people out there. In my opinion, and this definitely won't be a popular opinion, most likely, easy way to stop all the knife crime in England is if everyone was carrying swords. If they went back to where everyone was carrying swords, and a lot of people don't realize that in the olden days it was actually illegal for peasants to have swords in most places. But if everyone in England was walking around with a sword, got a feeling there wouldn't be any knife crime. because it's the average person's ability to defend themselves that negates the ability for evil people to attack them. And I've been to Canada multiple times. I know you're talking about relocating, but I've been out of the country twice. Once was to Aruba, twice to different locations. So I've been to Aruba and I've been to Canada, but I've been multiple times because we're pretty close to the border. And I just wanted some maple syrup. I was going to make pancakes and I wanted syrup. And I was like, well, I'm not going to the grocery store. I'm going to go to Canada and get some real maple. All right, somebody's asking, what's one thing you're still terrible at no matter how many times you try? Nothing really. I'm trying to think. And the thing is that practice really does make perfect. And if you put your mind to something, you continue to try to do something, you're going to get better and better at it. I'm very technologically challenged. I'm really bad with a lot of technology, but even that, I can get better and I can learn the things. I can make myself better at it, even if it's something that I don't like. As far as I'm not trying to just cop out on this one, but as far as something that I'm terrible at, no matter how many times I try, I really haven't found anything like that because I'm only terrible at it because I don't try, or I'm only terrible at it because it's something I have no interest in learning, like math. I guess math counts because that is something I don't seem to be able to teach myself. So math, there you go. There's your answer. I'm terrible at math no matter how much I practice or how much I try. But I also hate math. So I'm good with money math. Like I can do money, but not math math. Well, yes, like people talk about like the knife band thing I was just talking about and all that. Well, people act like weapons and technology are the only reasons why anything like that has ever happened. And any of those individuals have never studied history, and they definitely haven't studied the history of like war, and the fact that those things happen. And typically, those things happen, like I said, because the average person is not does not have the ability to defend themselves. If the average person has the ability to defend themselves, those things don't happen. Random evils don't happen when every individual has the ability to defend themselves. Because also, the vast majority of evil people are cowards. Yes, always keep learning. Somebody's saying always keep learning. Definitely always, no matter what, keep learning. It is something that my homeschooling definitely taught me and afforded me that sensibility. I'm somebody that has never stopped seeking knowledge and seeking to learn things and understand things. I'm very much a student of existence. And the things that I am passionate about and passionate about learning, I just stick to and I continue to progress my learning in those things. And there's a lot of stuff like that that I enjoy learning about. So you should always keep learning, always keep broadening your horizons. An idiot that is passionate about learning is more intelligent than a genius that doesn't care about learning. No, I'm not going back to Alaska. I have no plans to ever move back to Alaska. Will I go back for a visit or to help my brothers out with something? Almost definitely. I will be back up there at some point in time to help my brothers out or to just mess around or whatever. But there's a lot of world I want to see. There are a lot of places I want to go. And I have had, a lot of experiences and lived basically my whole life in Alaska. There's a lot of other things I would like to see and other places I would like to do, or a lot of other places I'd like to see and things I'd like to do. All right, guys. So this live has been going for about an hour and a half. So I think I'm going to get ready to go. I've got bunch of stuff I need to do, and I'm also ready to go have some of my chicken. Ready to go have some garlic baked chicken that I made. Somebody's asking why I like to go to Japan. It is on the top of my list, actually. Japan is like at the top of my list of places I want to go and see it all because I really have always wanted to go to Japan. I've studied a lot of Japanese history and the Japanese language and things like that. It's one of the languages that I know. Possibly, I mean, I'm Spanish or Japanese, but Spanish I like understand inadvertently, where Japanese I've like actually put some time into like studying, and I think that their written language is beautiful. Uh, I've always wanted to go see like the big cities in Japan and all the technology, but I've also always wanted to go to like the little fishing villages in Japan, and I've just been enamored with the whole culture and everything pretty much my whole life. Shogun is one of my favorite shows. Not the modern one. I actually haven't seen the modern one yet. I want to see it. Haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers. Although I already know the whole story because I read the books and the miniseries. One of my favorite shows of all time. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Check out the original Shogun miniseries. Epic show. Epic show. But to answer your question, yes, I very much want to go see Japan. Would I stream when I go to Japan? So there are different, yes and no, because I would do it where acceptable. I would definitely catalog and record my adventures, and I would make videos of it and things like that, where acceptable. I'm also very, very in tune with the way that that stuff should be done and how you should behave in those circumstances. I myself am very much a barbarian. I'm a barbarian with the way that I am, the way that I act, the way that I view things. I'm a reject from an 80s rock band. I am Conan the Barbarian. I'm a pirate. But I understand, you know, the culture and things like that, especially with places like Japan. And I find it disgusting when people go to places like that and just behave like total idiots and are not cool about it, because what makes it what it is because of the way they are and because of the mindset and the culture and the honor and all those things. So to go there, to experience that, you would have to embrace that. And that is something that I actually really look up to with that world and with the Japanese culture and everything. So yes, I would definitely record where acceptable, and because that is something else I want to do with my travels. Because I want to get a sailboat and bounce around the Bahamas. I want to go to Japan. I want to like ski the Swiss Alps, and I want to basically host my own travel channel show. Is what I would love to do. If I could find somebody willing to bankroll that, if I could find a producer that wanted to like, that wanted to invest and go in partners on something like that, I would love to host my own travel channel show and just go to these places and have these experiences and talk about it and everything. That would be awesome, and I would do that. And I would sign on to do that right now. I would leave tomorrow to go do something like that. All right, guys. So I am gonna get going. All right, another question: would I go to New Zealand? Definitely. I've always wanted to see New Zealand. It's another place I've always wanted to see. It's very beautiful there. Gorgeous mountains and forests and stuff. Would totally love to see it. And who wouldn't like to go see Hobbiton? All right, guys. So I'm gonna get going. Gonna go have some chicken. I got a bunch of stuff to do. So thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Brown Overboard, for this live episode. Be sure to click that thumbs up button if you want to be notified when I'm on another live or when I post new videos, when new episodes of Brown Overboard are released. Be sure to click all the buttons, push the notification thing, and do all that stuff. Y'all guys are awesome. Thank you very much to everyone. Special shout out to anyone who threw anything in the tip jar, to everybody who pushed the like button and the thumbs up. Be sure to click all the buttons, guys. Do appreciate it. It's super awesome. It helps the podcast grow, helps it reach new people. And speaking of reaching new people, if y'all guys know like 100,000 people you want to tell about the pod, that would be awesome. Shout out to our 13,000 subscribers. I will see y'all guys next time for another episode of Brown Overboard.